The Art of Being Ruled. Wyndham Lewis. Original publication 1926. 1989 edition. Narrated by Skeptical Waves. Part 13. Beyond Action and Reaction. Chapter 1. Is everyone unhappy in the modern world? No logical future has taken pictorial shape in these pages. All that has been done is to lay down a certain number of roads joining the present with something different from itself, yet something necessitated, it would appear, by its tendency. Both what is desirable and what is not in it contribute contradictorily to this impression. It is this double movement, proceeding from combined disgust and satisfaction, that must make the planning of these roads so difficult. Like all engineers, we are of sanguine disposition. To build even a bridle path across no man's land with the trump of doom sounding in our ears is evidence of that. But as far as possible this enviable cheerfulness has been concealed from the reader. Tout le monde est malheureux dans le monde moderne, Peggy, on the preceding page, chance. He is, of course, so wrong that his error can be neglected. It would be impossible to find a world in which everyone was unhappy. First of all, a striking amount of unhappiness always means exceptional fortune for the few lucky ones that are not. In that sense it is an evidence of happiness, rather. Then Peggy himself is a living contradiction of his own statement. He was happy, for the noblest reasons, at the spectacle of so much misery. And for the most ignoble reasons there would always be plenty of others to be found whose satisfaction could be observed to grow as universal misfortune increased. But in spite of all the evidences of deliberate maleficence in the modern world, when you have reckoned all, that is deliberate, there still remains a great amount of automatic evil. In spite, similarly, of the small evidence of effort to produce any good, automatically a surplus of good comes into the world every year. For all the organization designed to convert it into evil with great dispatch, there is still left over a respectable amount, which has either escaped attention or been found intractable to present methods. This brief statement must serve the purpose of an apology. The high spirits implied by such a work as we have been engaged on does not signify the existence of a secret store of good, or as it were a secret still where high spirits is manufactured. It is entirely the result of a prolonged contemplation of statistics. The philosopher or the man of the type of Sir Thomas More is always accused of confusing the possible with the desirable. He is described as utopian or as a dreamer. But he might, with some reason, retaliate that the emphatic practical man is guilty of that confusion. For his prudential prejudices have the same result adduced from contrary impulses. His preoccupation with what is possible is apt to make the practical man describe that as desirable which usually is not. Whether the utopia I have been occupied in defining is possible, I do not know. You may consider it too much mixed up, in my exposition, with the real, to be a utopia at all. Or you may think it entirely utopian to hope to devise a means of paralyzing the dangerous forces of human life without injuring them, or without catastrophe. Annihilation is Mr. Shaw's only solution, as it was Swift's, in his Back to Methuselah. Those yahoos, Ozymandias, and Semiramis, after they have bitten and killed a promising sculptor, are destroyed. This appears to me too savage a doom. The destruction of any living thing involves the destruction of all, as is understood by the Buddhist. It could, however, be castrated or otherwise treated, put to work and made innocuous, without involving one in vegetarian problems. Again, the spectator of this retribution, overtaking the historic puppets brought on the stage, and blasted by the Shavian sages, will not perhaps see so much to choose as Mr. Shaw would have us believe between the bickering 3-year-olds, conceived evidently by Mr. Shaw on some pseudo-classic, new art, or Chelsea, pattern, and the dolls they make. The mesmerists that are called elders, always sententiously wrapped in thought, are no better. They seem to have no right to kill the dolls.